I never thought a simple text could completely turn my evening upside down. But there I was, sprawled on my bed, phone buzzing in my hand, staring at a message that made my stomach drop and my heart skip a beat. Come upstairs, but don't knock. At first, I thought it was a prank. My roommate's older sister, Sarah, had always been a bit unpredictable. She was stunning, yes, but there was something about her that was equal parts intimidating and magnetic. She had this way of walking into a room and making everyone feel like they weren't just seeing her, they were seeing through her. I'd known her for months, mostly in passing. She'd stop by when my roommate and I were hanging out, toss a witty comment, roll her eyes at my terrible jokes, and leave. But that text? That was different. I stared at my phone for what felt like an eternity, trying to convince myself it had been sent to the wrong person. Maybe she meant to text my roommate, or maybe she was just messing with me. But the words on the screen were clear. Come upstairs, but don't knock. No explanation. No context. Just that. And somehow, it made my pulse race in a way that no text ever had before. I sat there, debating what to do. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to pretend I hadn't received it, and carry on with my evening. But curiosity, it's a dangerous thing, isn't it, was already pulling me toward the stairs. I couldn't help but think, why me? Why now? What was she even doing upstairs? My mind started racing with every possible scenario. Was she lonely? Was there some emergency? Or was this a setup? The more I thought about it, the more my imagination went wild. And if I'm being honest, there was a part of me that felt excited. I'd never been in a situation like this before, where the line between thrilling and terrifying was so blurred. I glanced at the clock. 10:47 p.m. Late enough that the house was quiet, just me and my thoughts. The air felt heavier, almost electric, like it was holding its breath with me. My roommate was out for the night, so it was just me and the unknown waiting upstairs. I couldn't shake the feeling that once I stepped into her room, nothing would feel normal again. With a deep breath, I pushed myself off the bed and started toward the stairs. Every creak of the steps under my feet seemed louder than it should be, echoing in the silent house. My hand hovered over the doorknob of her room, and my chest tightened with a mix of anticipation and dread. I knew that opening that door could change everything, but I had no idea how. And then, just as I was about to turn the knob, my phone buzzed again. Another message. This one wasn't from her. It was from my roommate. Don't go upstairs. Seriously, continue the story. Provide context about the characters, their relationships, and the situation leading up to the main conflict. Build emotional depth, keep the suspense alive, and end with unresolved tension to maintain curiosity. I froze, phone still in hand, staring at the message like it had somehow changed shape on the screen. Don't go upstairs. Seriously, my brain refused to make sense of it. Part of me wanted to obey immediately, shove the phone in my pocket, and retreat to the safety of my room. But another, louder part, the part that had been buzzing with curiosity since that first text, refused to let me. I couldn't stop thinking about Sarah's message. Come upstairs, but don't knock. What did that even mean? Why would she tell me not to knock unless she wanted me to enter anyway? And now, with my roommate warning me off, everything became tangled in this web of mystery. My mind raced with possibilities, none of them simple, all of them electrifyingly tense. I leaned against the wall, gripping my phone like it could anchor me in sanity, trying to calm the whirlwind of thoughts. Maybe it was a joke gone too far. Maybe she was testing me somehow. Or maybe, God, what if something had actually gone wrong upstairs? A sudden rush of fear swept over me. I realized I didn't even know what her intentions were, or if I even wanted to know. Every sound in the house suddenly seemed amplified. The faint hum of the refrigerator downstairs, the creak of the stairs, my own heartbeat, loud enough that I was sure it would give me away. I debated calling my roommate, asking for clarification, but I was terrified of what I'd hear. Was she panicking because of something dangerous? Or because she knew what Sarah had in mind and didn't want me involved? I felt like I was being pulled in two directions at once. The desire to obey, to stay safe, and the irresistible urge to see, to understand, to confront whatever awaited me upstairs. My hands shook, a mix of excitement and dread coursing through my veins. Finally, I made a decision. Slowly, I inched toward the stairs, each step heavier than the last. The house seemed to hold its breath with me, as if it knew I was about to cross some invisible line. I told myself I'd just peek. Just see. Just figure out what was happening, and then leave. But as I reached the landing, I froze again. The door to Sarah's room was slightly ajar, a thin strip of light cutting across the dark hallway. And from behind it, I heard a sound. Not a voice, not a yell, just a soft, deliberate click. Something had shifted inside the room, and whatever it was, it knew I was here. I swallowed hard. My heart pounded. And then, the door creaked open just a fraction more, as if inviting me in. The door to Sarah's room didn't move any further, but the gap was enough to give me a glimpse of the dimly lit space inside. Shadows danced across the walls, cast by some unseen lamp or maybe the glow from her laptop. My chest tightened, my stomach twisting into knots as I stepped closer, almost on instinct, almost against my better judgment. Every nerve in my body screamed both turn back and go forward. I paused at the threshold. The room smelled faintly of her perfume, something floral, sharp, intoxicating. It hit me with the strange, disorienting mix of comfort and danger, like I was standing on the edge of a cliff, torn between the thrill of the fall and the terror of the landing. My hand hovered near the doorframe, shaking slightly, and I noticed something that made my heart skip. Her silhouette was there, but her back was to me. "Sarah?" I whispered, my voice breaking the silence. No answer, just a soft shuffle from somewhere deeper inside the room. My pulse skyrocketed. I had no idea what she was doing, no idea what I'd find if I stepped further in. I swallowed hard and moved another step forward. Every creak of the floorboards sounded like an alarm. Every shadow seemed to flicker with intention. My mind raced. Was she upset? Dangerous? Or was this some kind of twisted joke that I was about to regret? And then I saw it. A faint glow from the edge of the desk. My roommate's phone. No, that couldn't be right. It was Sarah's phone, face up, and the screen lit up with a single word I didn't expect. Here. I froze, feeling like I was teetering on the edge of something I couldn't understand. Something I wasn't ready for, but already too deep to back out of. My heartbeat thudded in my ears. Each breath felt heavy, each step forward impossible to ignore. The room was silent, except for a low, rhythmic sound, like something being placed down carefully. I couldn't see her face yet. My curiosity, my fear, my adrenaline, they were all warping my sense of time. Every shadow, every object, every subtle noise seemed amplified. I could feel her presence, even though I didn't know what she wanted, even though I didn't know what this was leading to. I took another step, and something moved. Not her, but the desk chair. It spun slightly, as if it had been nudged, and then the movement stopped. My stomach sank. I realized I wasn't just intruding. I was part of a setup, part of something deliberate. And then I noticed a small envelope on the floor, just at the edge of the light. My name was scrawled on it, in a handwriting that was unmistakably hers. I wanted to reach for it. I needed to. But as I lifted my hand, the sound of a door clicking shut behind me froze me in place. I spun around, my heart hammering, but there was no one there. Only shadows. Only the faint, flickering light. And then I heard it. A voice, soft, almost a whisper, right behind me. "I've been waiting for you." I spun around, heart racing, but the room seemed empty. The voice had come from nowhere, or so I thought. Then I noticed it. A small, almost imperceptible movement behind the curtains. I stepped closer, my stomach twisting with dread and curiosity. And that's when I saw it. Not Sarah. Someone else. A figure I shouldn't have recognized, my roommate. Standing there, half hidden in the shadows, a sly smile playing on his lips. What are you doing here?" I stammered, shock rooting me to the spot. He shrugged casually, like he hadn't just been hiding in the dark, like this wasn't a full-blown heart-stopping setup. "You really thought this was just Sarah?" His eyes glinted with mischief, or something darker. "We've been planning this for weeks." Weeks. My mind scrambled. The texts, the warnings, Sarah's cryptic message. It wasn't just a prank or a dare, it was all coordinated, and I was the target. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again. Another message from Sarah. "Don't trust him. Come closer." I froze. Confusion, fear, and adrenaline collided in my chest. Everything I thought I knew was unraveling, and whatever came next, I had no idea if I'd make it out intact. My chest felt like it was about to explode. My roommate grinned, as if he had already won some invisible game, and I realized I had only seconds to think or react. I glanced toward the desk, toward the envelope, toward the faint shadow of Sarah, still out of reach. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but curiosity, that dangerous spark, kept me rooted. Then Sarah stepped out from behind the desk. Her expression was calm, almost playful, but there was an intensity in her eyes that made my stomach twist. "You've been a very good sport," she said softly, and I realized she had orchestrated this too, just like my roommate. My mind spun. I thought I was walking into her world. Instead, I was walking into their world. "Wait, what is this?" I demanded, voice trembling. My roommate chuckled, stepping closer, but Sarah raised a hand. "Not what you think," she said. "This isn't a trick against you. It's a test." "A test?" I whispered, confusion flooding me. "Yes," Sarah said, her gaze locking onto mine. "To see if you could handle the unexpected. To see if you could trust us, or yourself." Before I could process, she handed me the envelope. I opened it, hands shaking, and inside was a ticket. 2 tickets to a weekend getaway. A surprise they had planned together. A crazy, thrilling adventure I was meant to accept. Relief washed over me, mixed with embarrassment, and then a laugh bubbled up from my throat. But just as I exhaled, my phone buzzed again. Another text, from an unknown number this time. I opened it, expecting maybe a follow-up joke. Instead, it read, "Hope you enjoyed your little test. But the real game is just beginning." I froze, looking between Sarah and my roommate, who exchanged a glance neither of them explained. My heart raced again, a thrill and a warning coiling together. I had survived the first wave of chaos, but somehow, somewhere, I knew this was far from over. The room, once tense with mystery, now felt alive with possibilities, exciting, terrifying, unpredictable. And in that instant, I realized I wasn't just part of their plan. I was part of something much bigger. The room finally felt quieter. The adrenaline had drained from my body, leaving a strange mixture of relief, disbelief, and lingering excitement. I sank onto the edge of the bed, staring at the envelope in my hands. It wasn't just a prank. It wasn't just a setup. It was an invitation, a challenge, really, to step outside my comfort zone, to trust, to embrace the unknown. Sarah smiled at me, that same captivating smile that had first made my chest tighten months ago. "You did well," she said softly, almost as if she could read every thought racing through my head. "Most people wouldn't have come. Most people would have turned around the moment it got confusing." I glanced at my roommate, who shrugged with a mix of pride and amusement. "We wanted to see if you could handle a little chaos," he said. "Turns out you can." I laughed, the tension melting in a way that felt almost magical. I realized how trapped I had been in my own cautious routines, how much I had underestimated the thrill of unpredictability. That one text, that one moment of hesitation, had led me to a place I never expected, a place where fear, curiosity, and excitement collided in the best way possible. But the lingering mystery, the thrill of the unknown, wasn't over. I looked at my phone and remembered that last text. "Hope you enjoyed your little test. But the real game is just beginning." I knew it wasn't a threat. Somehow, I knew it was an invitation to keep exploring, to keep embracing the surprises that life, or Sarah and my roommate, had waiting. I tucked the envelope safely in my pocket, knowing that the weekend getaway would be just the start. The nervousness that had been coiled in my chest for hours had shifted into something lighter, anticipation. A sense that life didn't always have to be predictable, that the people you trust and the moments you take a leap for can turn the ordinary into something unforgettable. Before I left the room, Sarah reached out, lightly tapping my shoulder. "Remember," she said, "sometimes the best adventures start when you step into the unknown. Don't overthink it. Just go." I nodded, feeling a warmth spread through me that had nothing to do with the room or the lights, and everything to do with the realization that connection, trust, and a little courage can make life thrilling in ways you can't plan. As I walked back downstairs, the house now quiet in a completely different way, I thought about how small choices, the decision to reply, to climb the stairs, to open a door, can ripple into experiences you'll never forget. And even though the real game had yet to begin, I knew I was ready. I stepped into the living room, glanced back at the stairs, and smiled. Life, it seemed, was finally giving me a story worth telling, and I couldn't wait to see how it unfolded. And maybe, just maybe, I'd never look at a text message or an invitation to adventure the same way again.